Officer Dante Bishop pulled over his 7th car that night on I-85 just outside Birmingham, Alabama. It was a routine traffic stop, broken taillight. The driver was a young black woman, maybe 25, hands visible on the steering wheel, eyes nervous in the rearview mirror. She'd done this before. She knew the drill. Stay calm, be respectful, don't give them a reason. Dante approached the window, flashlight in hand, and the woman rolled it down immediately. "Evening, officer. Was I speeding?" "Taillights out," Dante said, his voice flat, cold. He shined the light in her face, longer than necessary. "License and registration." She handed them over with shaking hands. "I didn't know it was out. I'll get it fixed first thing tomorrow, I promise." Dante looked at her license. Maya Johnson, 26 years old. Birmingham address. Clean record. He should have given her a warning. Maybe a fix-it ticket. That's what any reasonable cop would have done. But Dante Bishop wasn't reasonable. Not anymore. Maybe he never had been. "Step out of the vehicle," he said. Maya's eyes widened. "What? Why? I wasn't—" "Step out of the vehicle." Maya complied, hands trembling as she opened the door. Dante made her stand on the side of the highway while he searched her car. No probable cause, no reasonable suspicion, just power, just control, just a man with a badge who'd forgotten what it was supposed to represent. He found nothing. Of course he found nothing. But he made her wait 30 minutes on the side of the road anyway, surrounded by passing cars, humiliated, while he ran her information multiple times. When he finally let her go, he didn't apologize. He just said, "Get that taillight fixed, or next time I won't be so nice." Maya drove away in tears. And Dante Bishop? He got back in his patrol car, made a note in his log, and moved on to the next one. Because that's what he did. Night after night, year after year. He wore the badge, but he hated the people it was supposed to protect. And eventually that hatred would cost someone their life. Before we go any further, I need you to do something. If you're watching from Birmingham, Atlanta, Memphis, Detroit, Houston, Charlotte, New York, London, Manchester, or anywhere else in the world, drop your city in the comments. Let me know you're here. And if this story grips you, hit that like button and subscribe to the Fiend Files. Because what you're about to hear is one of the most disturbing cases of police corruption and violence in recent Alabama history. Let's go back to the beginning. Dante Bishop was 38 years old when everything came crashing down. He'd been with the Birmingham Police Department for 14 years. He grew up in a working-class white family in Hoover, Alabama, just outside Birmingham. His father, Robert Bishop, was a mechanic. His mother, Linda, worked at a grocery store. Dante was the middle child of 3 boys. Quiet, kept to himself, never quite fit in. He joined the police academy right out of high school. 21 years old, fresh-faced, telling everyone he wanted to serve his community. But the truth? Dante wanted power. He wanted authority. He wanted control over people who'd made him feel small his entire life. Dante was 5'10", lean build with pale skin, light brown hair cut military short, cold blue eyes that rarely showed emotion, and a small American flag tattoo on his right forearm. He looked like every other cop, fit the profile, said the right things in interviews, passed the psych eval, got hired without issue. But from day one there were signs, complaints, lots of them. Excessive force during traffic stops, racial profiling, unnecessary escalation. His supervisors looked the other way. "He's aggressive, but he gets results," they'd say. In reality, Dante Bishop was a ticking time bomb, and the Birmingham PD gave him a gun and a badge anyway. Over 14 years, Dante racked up 37 formal complaints. 37. Use of excessive force, harassment, intimidation, racial slurs during arrests, and yet, he was never suspended, never demoted, never fired. Why? Because the system protected him. Because the union protected him. Because the culture of silence within the department protected him. Until the night he killed Terrell Jackson. It was a Friday night in July. Hot. Humid. The kind of night where tensions ran high and tempers ran hotter. Dante was on patrol in the Ensley neighborhood, a predominantly black area of Birmingham. He'd requested this assignment, he always did, because Dante Bishop had a pattern. He targeted black neighborhoods. He targeted black drivers. He targeted black people. It wasn't just bias. It was intentional. It was systematic. It was hatred. At 11:43 p.m., Dante pulled over a silver Honda Accord for allegedly swerving. The driver was Terrell Jackson, a 32-year-old black man with dark skin, short dreads, a trimmed beard, and a tattoo of his son's name, Jaden, on his neck. Terrell worked 2 jobs, one as a warehouse supervisor, another as a rideshare driver on weekends. He was the father of a 6-year-old son. He paid his child support on time. He'd never been arrested. He had no criminal record. Terrell wasn't swerving. Dashcam footage would later prove that. But Dante didn't care about facts. He cared about power. Dante approached the car, flashlight in hand. "License and registration," he barked. Terrell complied immediately. "Yes, sir. Can I ask what I did wrong?" "You were swerving." "I wasn't swerving, officer. I promise. I haven't been drinking. I haven't—" "Are you arguing with me?" Dante's hand moved to his gun. A threat. A warning. Terrell's heart raced. He knew this game. He'd been pulled over before. He knew how to survive it. Stay calm. Stay compliant. Don't give them a reason. "No, sir. I'm not arguing. I'm just asking." "Step out of the vehicle." Terrell hesitated. "Why?" "I gave you my license. I haven't done anything wrong." "Step out. Now." Terrell opened the door slowly, hands visible, moving carefully. He stepped onto the pavement, hands raised slightly. "Officer, please. I'm cooperating. I'm not resisting." Dante grabbed him by the arm, hard, spun him around, slammed him against the car. Terrell's face hit the hood. "You don't question me. You don't talk back. You do what I say." "I am." Terrell's voice was strained, panicked. "I'm doing what you say." Dante pulled out his handcuffs. Terrell wasn't under arrest. There was no probable cause, no legal justification. But Dante didn't care. He cuffed Terrell anyway, wrenching his arms behind his back with more force than necessary. Terrell winced in pain, but didn't resist. And then, it happened. Terrell's phone, which had been in his pocket, slipped out and fell to the ground. Dante saw it, saw Terrell glance down at it, and in Dante's twisted mind, that glance was a threat. "What's that?" Dante demanded. "What are you reaching for?" "Nothing. I'm not reaching for anything." Terrell's voice was desperate now, terrified. "It's just my phone. It fell." But Dante already had his gun drawn. "Get on the ground. Now." "I'm handcuffed. I can't—" "Get on the ground." Terrell tried to kneel. Hands cuffed behind his back, he lost his balance and stumbled. And Dante Bishop, with 14 years on the force, with training on de-escalation, with every opportunity to assess the situation rationally, fired. One shot, center mass. Terrell Jackson collapsed onto the pavement, blood pooling beneath him. Dante stood there for a moment, gun still drawn, staring at the body. Then he keyed his radio. "Officer needs assistance. Suspect down. Shots fired." The dashcam footage told a different story than Dante's official report. In his report, Dante claimed Terrell had aggressively reached for an unknown object and posed an immediate threat to officer safety. The footage showed a man in handcuffs, stumbling because he couldn't balance, being shot while unarmed. The Birmingham Police Department tried to bury it. They released a statement calling it a tragic but justified use of force. They put Dante on paid administrative leave. They waited for the news cycle to move on. But Terrell Jackson's family wasn't going to let it go. His mother, Gloria Jackson, a 58-year-old woman with graying natural hair, glasses, and a church hat she wore to every protest, became the face of the movement demanding justice. She stood in front of the Birmingham Police Department with a photo of Terrell and his son, tears streaming down her face, and said, "My son was murdered, and the man who killed him is still getting paid. That's not justice. That's complicity." The case caught national attention. Protests erupted in Birmingham. Civil rights organizations got involved. Detective Lamar Green, a black man in his mid-40s with a shaved head, a thick mustache, and over 20 years on the force, was assigned to lead the internal investigation. Lamar knew Dante, had worked with him, had heard the rumors, and now, with the dashcam footage in front of him, Lamar knew exactly what he was dealing with, a cop who should have been fired years ago. The internal investigation revealed a pattern that went back over a decade. 37 complaints, dozens of traffic stops targeting black drivers, use of force incidents that were never properly investigated, racial slurs documented by civilians. Text messages recovered from Dante's phone showed conversations with other officers where he used racist language, joked about cleaning up the streets, and expressed open contempt for the communities he was supposed to serve. One text message, sent 3 months before Terrell's death, read, "Another night in the hood. Can't wait to retire and never see these people again." Another, "Pulled over 5 tonight. All guilty of DWB, driving while black." The evidence was overwhelming. Dante Bishop wasn't just a bad cop. He was a racist, a bigot, a man who wore the badge but hated the people it was supposed to protect. And the Birmingham Police Department had enabled him for 14 years. Yo, if you're still with me, I need you to do something. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the Fiend Files. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Whether it's Birmingham, Jackson, New Orleans, Atlanta, Chicago, Philadelphia, London, Liverpool, or anywhere else. Because what comes next is going to shake you. Dante Bishop was arrested and charged with murder. Not manslaughter, not negligent homicide, murder. The prosecution, led by Assistant District Attorney Shanice Coleman, a black woman in her late 30s with natural hair, sharp eyes, and a fierce commitment to justice, built a case that went beyond just Terrell's death. She presented evidence of Dante's pattern of behavior, the complaints, the text messages, the excessive force incidents. She argued that Dante had gone to work that night looking for someone to hurt, and Terrell Jackson was unlucky enough to cross his path. The defense, led by attorney Michael Brennan, a white man in his 50s with graying hair and a reputation for defending police officers, argued that Dante acted in self-defense, that in the split second he believed Terrell was reaching for a weapon, that he followed his training, that this was a tragic accident, not a crime. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The courtroom was packed every day. Gloria Jackson sat in the front row, clutching a photo of her son. Terrell's 6-year-old son, Jaden, was too young to understand why his father wasn't coming home. The dashcam footage was played repeatedly. Every time the courtroom fell silent, watching Terrell stumble, watching him fall, watching Dante fire without hesitation. It was brutal. It was damning. It was undeniable. On the stand, Dante showed no remorse. When asked if he regretted shooting Terrell, he said, "I did my job. I protected myself. That's what officers do." When asked about the text messages, the complaints, the pattern of behavior, he said, "Those are taken out of context." When asked directly if he was racist, he said, "No, I treated everyone equally." The jury didn't believe him. After 2 days of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict: guilty, murder in the 2nd degree. The courtroom erupted. Gloria Jackson collapsed in tears. Supporters cheered. Dante Bishop sat stone-faced, showing no emotion. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison without the possibility of parole. At his sentencing, Gloria Jackson was allowed to speak. She stood at the podium, looked directly at Dante, and said, "You took my son from me. You took a father from his child. And for what? Because you hated the color of his skin? Because you thought your badge gave you the right to play God? My son was kind. He was hardworking. He was loved. And you murdered him? I hope every day in that prison you think about what you did. I hope you never know peace." Dante didn't respond, didn't apologize, didn't show remorse. He was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, and that was the last time Gloria saw his face. The fallout was massive. The Birmingham Police Department faced federal investigation. Dozens of officers who'd worked with Dante were questioned. Some were suspended, others resigned. The department implemented new training programs, body camera policies, and accountability measures. But for many in the community, it was too little, too late. Detective Lamar Green, who led the internal investigation, spoke publicly about the case. "This wasn't just one bad cop," he said in an interview. "This was a systemic failure. Dante Bishop should have been fired years ago. The signs were there. The complaints were there. But the system protected him. And because of that, Terrell Jackson is dead." Terrell's son, Jaden, is now 8 years old. He lives with his grandmother, Gloria. She tells him stories about his father, shows him photos, takes him to Terrell's grave every Sunday after church. She's raising him to be strong, to be kind, to be everything his father was. Dante Bishop remains in prison. He has no visitors, no letters. His family disowned him after the trial. His fellow officers turned their backs. He sits in a cell, serving 25 years, and according to prison staff, he still maintains he did nothing wrong. The case of Dante Bishop became a catalyst for change in Birmingham. Protests led to policy reforms. Terrell Jackson's name became a rallying cry. His death, while tragic, sparked a movement that's still ongoing today. But Gloria Jackson will tell you, no amount of reform brings her son back. No policy change erases the pain. No conviction heals the wound. She lost her son to a man who wore a badge but hated the people it was supposed to protect. And that's a pain that never goes away. Thank you for watching, everyone. Whether you're tuning in from Birmingham, Memphis, Atlanta, Detroit, Houston, Philadelphia, London, Manchester, or anywhere else in the world, I appreciate you. If this story moved you, if it made you think, drop a comment, share your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to the Fiend Files because there are more stories that need to be told, more injustices that need to be exposed, more voices that need to be heard. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and remember, a badge is supposed to protect, not oppress. And when it does the opposite, it's our responsibility to hold those who wear it accountable. Until next time.